Hi, guys. Welcome to today's episode of the Inspiring Millennial series. I am so excited because today I have a childhood friend here, Brooke Eden, all the way from Nashville. She's out right now. So, hey, Brooke.
Hey girl.
So Brooke and I knew each other when we were like 4 years old, and then we lost touch for a lot of years and reconnected during orientation at the University of Florida, where we both attended. So go Gators!
Go Gators.
And after college, Brooke decided to finally pursue her dream, which had always been a big part of her life, which is music. So why don't you tell us kind of a little bit about what that journey has been like for you?
I started singing when I was 4, and I started playing in my dad's band, singing in my dad's band when I was 5, and all the honky tonks in my hometown. And I always knew I wanted to move to Nashville, but it was just like how and when and all that stuff. So I graduated from high school, and I totally was like, all right, peace out, fam. I'm going to Nashville. And my dad was like, no, you're not. And I was like, what? I really wanted to go to Belmont University up here because they have a great music business program, but it's super expensive. And in Florida, we have the Bright Future Scholarship, which you get to go to school for basically free if you do well in high school. So my dad was like, you're going to University of Florida. Good luck. See you in 4 years. I graduated from University of Florida with a business degree, and then I finally got the chance to move to Nashville. And I spent like 9 months right after college performing like 5 nights a week, 4 hours a night, saving up money to move to Nashville. And I knew like a couple of people because I had an internship here in between my junior and senior year of college.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was like how I got kind of like into Nashville, and I had roommates. And the first night I was here in Nashville, my dad was helping me move in, and he was like, it was like 11 o'clock. We had just got the mattress in my house. Like that was like all we had moved in. And he was like, all right, honey, put on your boots. We're going downtown. And I was like, Dad, it's 11 o'clock on a Tuesday. Like not happening. And he's like, we are in Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, capital of the United States. We're going downtown. So he won, and we ended up going downtown, and we ended up at Tootsie's, as any like tourist in Nashville does. And somehow this guy like came up behind me and handed me $20 and was like, get on stage and sing. And I was like, what? Like, how do you even know I'm a singer? And he's like, tell me you're not. And I was like, touche. So I got up on stage and sang, and the guy was like, you better not suck. And I was like, okay, I will do my best to not suck. And then 3 songs later, he was like, do you want a job here? And I was like, I just moved here today, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So, sure. I started working there like every other weekend or like 2 weeks out of the month. And then I was still flying back and forth between Nashville and Florida. I would spend 2 weeks here in Nashville, and I would write every day during those 2 weeks, write songs, and then I would fly home to Florida and I would perform 5 nights a week. And that's how I got paid. I did that for like 2 years, and the songwriting community here is amazing, and they're so welcoming. And I just started writing every day, and I wrote a song called American Dreamin' that got the attention of the highway on Sirius XM. So that got to go on the highway, and then pretty soon after that, I got a record deal with Redbow Records. We have like Jason Aldean and Dustin Lynch and Chase Bryant and Parma Lee and Thompson Square and so many awesome artists. So it's cool.
That's amazing. So I actually never knew that story about Tootsie's because I remember like watching live streams that your mom would share on Facebook of you singing at Tootsie's, and I had no idea that actually came to that first night that you were there. So that's a really cool story.
It's so crazy.
And so you had a long road because even during those 4 years when we were in college, like you got to perform on stage in front of all of the students during one of our homecoming rallies and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and opening up for who was it again? I remember you saying it. I don't even remember that Leonard Skinner was there. I remember that Brooke was there. I remember walking through the stadium and like being behind, not like out in where the seats are, but going through the back and hearing you sing and like all of us just like bum rushing out there. You were like the highlight. You beat Leonard Skinner that night.
Oh my God, I love you, Rach. I'll pay you later.
But there was that, and then you also won a contest with Sugarland, right?
I did, yeah. So I had just moved to Nashville, and there was a Facebook contest that popped up, and I was like, I'm still a huge Sugarland fan, and it said, turn in a video of you singing Baby Girl, and they're going to choose one person from each tour city to get up on stage and sing Baby Girl with them. And so, of course, I had like 100 of them saved on my phone because my mom videos every single show I ever do. And so I sent in one of my videos singing Baby Girl, and about 4 days before the show, I got a phone call from Sugarland's team telling me that I had won the contest and I got to perform with Sugarland. And so I was totally freaking out. And it was such a moment for me because I got to sing in front of 20,000 people in my hometown, at my hometown amphitheater that I had always dreamt of singing on. And I was singing this song, Baby Girl, that at the time was totally the story of my life. Mm-hmm. It was, the song's about a girl moving to Nashville to pursue her dreams and talking to her parents every weekend and just hoping that something good would come from it. And here I was, I had just moved to Nashville a couple months before that, and I was getting to totally fulfill this dream of mine. I was singing on this amphitheater stage. And so I sang with Sugarland that night, and that video ended up going on YouTube. And that also was like part of the reason that I ended up getting signed to my label.
Oh, really? I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, yeah, it's really, I just think, so crazy to think about what your life was like during those couple years, because I remember watching you fly down and then, do shows at the northern part of our county down to, like, the middle and southern part of our county, and then going back up to Nashville, and just, like, you work 24/7. To this day, you work 24/7. And so how do you stay motivated? How do you not just want to like go get curled up with some tacos and your onesie right now?
I think that, it's what I love. It's what I've always wanted to do. So I constantly just felt and feel so blessed to be able to do that. But I also think that I'm able to be motivated because I do sit in my room and sit in a onesie and eat tacos. Like, I think that like part of being successful is allowing yourself to rest and allowing yourself to take that time to hang out with your friends and your family and binge eat and watch Netflix. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And, and I think I'll add Brooke's Snapchat code to the blog post for this, because if you guys follow her on Snapchat, you'll definitely see that the life of a country singer is very much very relatable, very something that like you and I would be spending time doing, but also just constantly working for that dream. And it's just really motivating and inspiring to see. So speaking of TV shows, what are your thoughts on the show Nashville?
Oh, Nashville. Okay, so I really like the show because a lot of my friends' songs are played on Nashville, which is cool. But I have to be really honest, I don't have cable. So I don't know like the storyline or anything like that, but I will watch it. If one of my friends' songs is on, I'll like go to a friend's house and watch it, or I'll watch it like on abc.com or something like that. But I think it's really cool. I think that Nashville, the show, has definitely drawn a lot of people to the city, and it's helped country music a lot because people are just more aware of like what is going on.
That's awesome. So walk us through kind of what like that day-to-day culture is like when you're actually in Nashville and songwriting, and what that lifestyle is even like.
It's not like any other job really, because you have to be self-motivated and a self-starter, and I have a publishing deal, which means that like I get paid to write songs, so that's helpful because they like set up rights for you. But today, for example, we wrote a song a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like obsessed with the chorus and I'm obsessed with the pre-chorus, but I want the music to sound a little bit different and I want to change the verses a little bit. And so I contacted my co-writers. We were like, we really want to just like make that verse as good as the chorus. And so I'm going over to one of my friend's studios after this, and we're gonna just fix everything to like make it right and make it what we want. Because if you write a song and it's not like spectacular, then it just sits there forever. Mm-hmm. So you might as well like spend some time to make it spectacular so you can put it on an album or something like that.
Definitely. So where do you find the motivation for writing your songs? Like, how do you even work through that whole process and tapping into that emotion? Because I got to imagine it's an emotional journey.
Yeah, it's every single day, something happens that sticks in your brain, or somebody says something and you're like, oh wow. Like, for example, I have this song called Sunday Morning that totally goes with the confused millennials for sure, because I feel like it's like something in our generation that didn't happen in past generations. But this song is called Sunday Morning, and I wrote it for one of my friends because she went home with this guy on a Saturday night, and on Sunday morning she woke up and he wasn't there. And it was just like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't know. It was crazy. So she called me at like 6:45 in the morning and was like, can you please come pick me up? And I was like, I'll be there in 10, So she got in my car and she was like, so like, what do you think I did wrong? Like, and I was like, girl, you didn't do anything wrong. Like, I guess he probably just wasn't into what you were into it for, And I was like, I finally got to a point where I was like, girl, all I know is if you're going to be his Saturday night, you better be his Sunday morning. Mm-hmm. And that in my head, I was like, oh my God, that song needs to be written. There's so many people that can relate to that, and just like our generation, that like that's like a new thing. Like 20 years ago, that never would have happened.
Nobody was getting ghosted.
No, like at least they would have like driven you home or like taken you to the Waffle House or something.
It's true. It's definitely true. And so would you say that a lot of, because I know you're working on a new EP, would you say, I know that there's probably a lot of songs that have been written that you're kind of sorting through, like what would be kind of that overall theme of that? Like what could listeners kind of expect?
Yeah, they're all kind of like in that vein of like that point in your life. I've written this like throughout my like 20s. And so like I'm like recording here from my beautiful duplex, and just like the normal kind of like relationship issues and just life issues of like a 20-something, and kind of songwriting is kind of like my therapy for that. So I got broken up with like 8 or 9 months ago, and a lot of the songs came from that experience and thinking that, I don't know, that you had like found a good one. Mm-hmm. And then so we were together for a little bit, and he called me and told me that he thought that we should go on a break. So I was like, okay. And then 9 days later, he had a new girlfriend all over social media.
No.
Yeah. And he was like, like everybody knew us as like a couple in Nashville. Mm-hmm. And
because you guys did you guys wrote together, performed together, you guys.
Yeah,
I saw, because you guys were on social media together. I remember seeing that. Right. I had no idea that that's how it went down.
Yeah,
so I gotta imagine there's some good songs coming out of that, hopefully.
Yeah. And just like, there was also like my mom loved him, and so she like texted him afterwards and said, "You broke 2 hearts." Mm. And he like told everybody in Nashville, and it was so awkward. And I wrote a song about that. And so, it's just basically this kind of theme of like life happens, and, sometimes you have to go through it, but in the end, like, you're alive, and like life is good, Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I'm excited to hear all of that. I think that's something that so many people can just relate to, which is, and I know from knowing you for years that you are fairly guarded with your heart. It's, something that's not easily given away. And so it's, it's always tough when somebody that you like let into your life and gets to know your family and really you build that trust with just kind of shatters that. And so, I think that's something that so many people can relate to, especially as we're just trying to figure out our 20s and everybody seems like they're getting engaged, getting married, and having babies on social media. And you just want to pull your hair out.
Oh my gosh, yes. I have a song about that too. It's actually called Wedding Ring. And I wrote it because, like, literally all of my friends, shout out Rach, congratulations.
Thank you.
Are getting married, and they're all like popping up on my news feed. I've had like 3 people in the past week tell me that they're pregnant, and it was just like all of this going on. And then it was just like me and my roommate and a bunch of our friends sitting around in my living room, and they were talking about all their friends that were getting engaged and having babies. And I was just like, I feel like there needs to be a song for that. And so I wrote the song called Wedding Ring. And I don't know if it'll be on my EP, but it'll definitely be on my album.
That's awesome. I'm excited to hear that. It's it's funny because like a lot of the people I've been interviewing for this series aren't necessarily like getting married and having babies. Some of them are in relationships, some of them aren't. But it's kind of interesting that like so many people that are just really working on discovering themselves and inspiring others in our generation are kind of really just kind of dating themselves right now in like the best way possible.
Yeah, that is such a good way of saying it.
Talk to me about the touring, because you've been touring a lot lately. Is it as glamorous as it looks when I see big tour buses pulling up? Like, what is that situation like?
Okay, so I'm not on a tour bus right now, but I did do my radio tour, which I did radio tour from November to May, which basically means you get on a tour bus and you travel the United States and you go visit every single country radio station in America. So I had a tour bus for that, and I mean, being on a tour bus is great, and you can sleep while driving. I mean, you're not driving, but the bus is going somewhere. That's really great, but we are currently in a van, so it's really funny because even when we were on the tour bus, we were kind of going back and forth between the tour bus and the hotel, and in every city, it was kind of like you never really got to see the city because you were literally just like living on this bus, but we were walking from the hotel to the bus one night, and we had this really late dinner. We went to like midnight, and we had to run into me and my label reps had to like run into the hotels, take showers, and then get back on the bus and sleep because we had to leave at like 5:30 in the morning. So as long as we were sleeping on the bus, we got to sleep a little bit longer. But touring is so much fun. I mean, it's fun because you get to tour. Like, my bandmates are like some of my best friends. They're like my brothers. And we get to go to all these different places. And a lot of times they'll take us to like a lake, or they'll take us to something cool in town. And that's kind of like what we live for. We live for the local experience of every city we go in, and then of course getting to be on stage and like feeling different energies in the different cities and the different towns. This summer has been amazing. We're going to be all over the place. From like, we're playing the Billboard Hot 100 Festival in Long Island, New York. We're playing Houston, Texas for 4th of July, Watershed in Washington State, and we're getting to open a couple of shows for Tim McGraw. So we're very pumped.
Awesome. That's so cool. And so, this has pretty much been a dream of yours since you were little. And as far as you've come, there's still so much further to go. What does it feel like to just know that you're kind of like in the middle of something? Is it scary? Is it exciting? Is it both? Like,
yeah, it's totally both. I mean, the thing is like the music industry is all about timing and songs. So like you have to have the right song at the right time. and you can have the right song at the wrong time and it won't work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's definitely a little intimidating going like, oh my God, I put my whole life into this career, like cross my fingers and pray to God I hope this works,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But it's definitely made my faith in God stronger
Mm-hmm.
because basically all you can do is do the best that you can, and then you kind of have to leave the rest up to him.
Me a little bit about like your style inspiration, because you constantly get written up for one of those up and coming stars in Nashville with just phenomenal style.
Oh, thank you. I grew up as the daughter of a drummer, and the daughter, my mom was a window designer. She designed mannequins for storefronts. So I had music from my dad and I had fashion from my mom. And my mom has always just made me want to dress fun and cool, and I guess I never really thought about it being like super different until I came up here and I was like, oh, okay, I don't dress like everybody else. But I like to wear cowboy boots, and even if I'm wearing heels, they have cowboy boots like on the front, like I have like cowboy booties. And I love fringe, and I love to like bling out any outfit that I have. And I really like kimonos and like feeling like I'm Superwoman with like a cape that's flowing behind me. I mean, like anything that like can flow in the wind, I'm all about. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I guess I get it from my mama.
That's so cool. So, what's kind of the next steps for you?
Yeah. Well, the next right now steps are getting the EP together and getting a single out within the next couple of months. And then after that happens, we'll be recording for the whole album. So that'll be sometime at the beginning or middle of next year. And right now, that's what I'm focusing on. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, where do you hope to be in 5 years? I mean, of course, you hope to, you know, have CMA awards and to sing on the Grammys and all of these things. But really, it's like, I just love my everyday life
Mm-hmm.
and getting to live this dream. And I really just take kind of every day, one day at a time,
Mm-hmm.
and just go from there.
I think, that's just such an important lesson kind of for all of the confused millennials out there. Because I think, especially today, it can be so tough to watch all these, voice competition shows or going online and just seeing, very craftily worded headlines that make things sound like an overnight success and stuff like that, where it can be hard to not get caught up in that 5 year picture and stay kind of grounded on that foundational piece and building a relationship with your fans and networking and things like that, whether it's in the music industry or whatever industry it is.
Totally.
Super
Absolutely.
refreshing.
Yeah, totally. And not comparing yourself to other people because everybody's journey is so different. And
Mm-hmm.
that's something that's a little bit hard because, you kind of come up with like these other artists that are coming up at the same time, and maybe like their single lifts off and you're still sitting here or whatever it may be. And it's like you just have to look at your life and go, my path is different than theirs.
Mm-hmm.
We all have a different path and we're all going to get there a different way. So
Mm-hmm.
just not comparing yourself to other people.
Definitely. So, what advice do you kind of have? Because you have probably like your head on your shoulders better than I think that most of us.
Oh,
Um, so, kind of like, what advice do you have for people? Because I mean, aside from just hard work and things like that, like, how do we cut through all of the BS out there with relationships and careers and all of that to kind of live this almost like, I don't want to say transcended, but just like grounded life that you kind of have taken on in such a crazy actual life?
oh my God. I don't feel like I'm grounded at all. I mean, like grounded in like you have to be humble always. But as far as like having my head on my shoulders, I think I just like play a really good play a really good part because I feel like I'm just as crazy as the next person. My life is just as all over the place. I mean, I don't have a schedule. I've never had a schedule. I don't know what that feels like to be able to like wake up at the same time every day and go to the gym and make breakfast and, go to your job and come home and make dinner. And I don't have that at all. I mean, my life is different every single day. There's something new going on. So, I mean, I just feel like keeping yourself around people that love you but will always tell you the truth is something that I've kind of kept really close to me, where you have people around you that are always encouraging you, and you can encourage them, and it's like this really great mutual thing, but also like are not afraid to be like, you are being terrible.
Yeah.
And just having people around you that will always keep you grounded and always keep you.
Definitely. Kind of on that too, because I think finding friends, especially, we're in our, mid late 20s now at 27. How do you even go about finding those friendships?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in Nashville, it's just, I feel like I've kind of found my zebras here, for lack of a better term. It's just everybody's kind of in the same place. Everybody's figuring out their lives, and nobody really has all the answers. And I think that we all kind of relate so closely in that sense that it keeps us always there for each other. And even though we might not be going through the same exact thing, it's like we can always find a way to relate our stories to everybody else's stories. And so I think that, I mean, I've found a lot of my friends via music, but not all. I mean, obviously you don't do music, but we've always like bonded so well. And it's just like, I think that I find my best friends in like open-minded, free-spirited go-getters, which are it's kind of like an oxymoron, because if you're like free-spirited and like kind of just like chill in life, then that doesn't always go with like a go-getter or like super ambitious. But somehow I found these friends that I'm so proud to be friends with, and that are so chill and so encouraging to each other and helpful with each other, but also have their own things going. And I think that's like a big thing, is like, as long as, your friends have their own things going and you have your own things going, it's being able to talk about your lives and the struggles that you have, but also like relish in the joy when something great happens is kind of like where you keep your friendships.
I love that, because it's kind of like, nobody wants to date like a super insecure person. And,
Yeah.
and you're kind of going through that same thing with your friends. Like, nobody wants that friend of me that when something good happens in your life, they're giving you like the stank eye on the side there, or like secretly cursing you in your head. And, you want to have those friends that are, if you're achieving stuff, that they're achieving stuff, so you guys can both celebrate one another's wins, where you're not feeling like, they're jealous of you or trying to sabotage you. So I think that's a really kind of good point of just taking it as like being a whole person yourself, so you can offer that friendship exactly what you want back in return.
Totally.
And I think that's, it's tough, especially in your 20s, and you're learning who you are, and going through so many comparison and perfection paralysis to find that your zebras, as you say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true, Rach. It's so true. It's like, it's hard because you're so insecure sometimes, because like you don't really know what the heck is going to happen tomorrow or like whatever. But realizing it's a comparing thing, like you can't compare your life to other people's. Like you always have to realize that everybody's dreams are different, or sometimes you have the same dreams even, but everybody's path is different no matter what. And not looking at other people's Instagrams and going like, oh my God, their life is so perfect. And it's like, no, like that's the way it might look on Instagram, but nobody's gonna like Instagram their worst day. They're gonna Instagram their best day and make it look even better than it actually was. So I definitely think that that's a big part of like happiness as a 20-something confused millennial, because you're always kind of with social media in this like comparison world, and we don't need to be like that.
Definitely. You're kind of in like a real like a pressure cooker for that environment too. I feel like, you know,
Totally.
you're with people that you guys are all working, a lot of you guys I'm sure are working towards a very similar goal or common theme, where I got to imagine there's some of that even more real life pressure of, are you going to get the publishing deal? Are your lyrics going to be put into that song, or are you going to get that gig, or this, that, and the other? And so I got to imagine that over the last few years while you've been in Nashville, that you've either had jealous feelings yourself or friends that were jealous of you. And so just kind of like, what was that experience like, and how did you come out on the other side of it?
Yeah. I mean, I think that when I first moved here, I was like, I have something different.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at my friends and I go, we're totally different. Like, we all sing country music. We all are like girls in country music, but we all have our own niche. And I think that that's kind of what keeps us from getting competitive with each
Mm-hmm.
other, is that we all have our own things going and we all have, something different to offer. And I mean, not that sometimes you're not like, oh man, like I wish I would have had that opportunity, or I wish that, that would have happened to me. Of course, you're going to have those feelings. But at the same time, you're so excited for your
Mm-hmm.
friends. And there's also like times where I'm sure your friends are thinking the same thing about you, you
Mm-hmm.
know? But as long as there's always like it always comes from a place of love and like a place of passion where you go like, this is my passion, this is what I want, but like I'm so happy for them as well, you know?
That's awesome. It's so true. And it's like one of those lessons that needs to just be carried so much bigger than friendships right now. And to so many other areas of our lives, that like if we approach it with love, we can usually ride out the wave of whatever that uncomfortable emotion is.
Totally.
So, you guys, I'm going to, in the blog post, add all the ways to connect with Brooke, but what's the easiest way to find you? Like, how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, my handle on every social media is Brooke Eden Music. So I'm on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and Snapchat. So yeah, any of those.
Awesome. And if you guys haven't already, check out American Dreamin' and Daddy's Money. They're both really awesome, and they will definitely get stuck in your head and have you singing out loud while driving around.
So
Thank you so much again, Brooke, for making the time today.
thank you, Rach. I'm so freaking proud of you. I love your blog. And I'm like, yes, she feels me.
Thank you.